Many people don't know about laptops. They don't know what to consider before buying a laptop. They don't know the criteria that you are supposed to use to select the best laptop for your course. Na watu wengi hawajuangi specs ni nini, which aligns with the needs of the laptop. Terms that are often thrown around like i5, i7, sijui my generation, my Ryzen, sijui my AMD. All these things, they don't know that. Even considering the price, bei ilingana na specs. How are you supposed to balance that? Performance and specs. What are you supposed to look at? So this is episode 1 of the among many episodes that are coming out for the series that are dedicated for people who have chosen to do courses to do with computer science, data science. There is actuarial science, there is ICT and or IT, software engineering, cybersecurity for entry students, or any other related course, whether diploma or degree. This is something that we are supposed to address. We will talk about what the criteria, the thought process behind looking at a laptop and telling that this is the best for my course, this is the best for my needs. Because watu wengi wana mess kwa, yes, you are choosing the laptop, but is it suited to doing certain tasks? Because when you are choosing a laptop, you must have knowledge of software and how software runs before choosing the hardware that aligns with that. Now, for these technical courses like working on computer science and these courses that are related with IT, they demand a certain hardware capabilities from a laptop or even a computer. And those needs are what we are going to look at. Now, before I even go further than this, before even the thought of buying a laptop should come in your mind, you should answer this one question: what are you going to do with the laptop? Now, I am assuming that the laptop that we are going to choose for these technical students, that is the computer science, ICT, data science, cybersec, all those related IT courses, that they are only going to do programming and the related stuff. Okay, keep that in mind, because I need to have that in mind so that I can now tell the needs of the laptops. Now, first, let's define that question or even that need. The needs for computer science students, because anytime you want to select a laptop, you must have an idea of what you're going to do with that laptop. Okay, that is what we call the need. Okay, and for computer science and IT related, they do a lot of programming and coding and related stuff. Okay, fortunately, I have been a software developer and web developer before. Okay, so I understand the needs for those students that I've mentioned. Now, number one thing is that you'll be handling programming. Okay, so a lot of programming softwares will be running in those laptops, the likes of Atom, PyCharm if you are doing Python, Java, there's VS Code. There are a lot of IDEs, Notepad++ or something like that, and other related softwares. Now, those are the softwares that run in these laptops whenever you are coding. Okay, it's another aspect that we have to look at, that is multitasking. Maybe you are working on this project on this IDE or code editor, and while you are working on this project, you have to browse, uingie GitHub, uingie Stack Overflow, documentation. You have to open multiple tabs while you are working on this project. Okay, so the primary needs for a laptop is programming and multitasking. A lot of multitasking, I can tell you. A lot of multitasking compared to a normal person. Now, having those needs in mind, that will point me to select the right hardware requirements for a laptop. We have now identified the needs for these students who are doing these IT related courses. Now, that needs to be translated to the hardware. Okay, now, and those hardware are what we call the specs. Specs is just the short form for specifications. Now, our laptop needs to have these requirements. We are going to look at the processor. That is the first thing that we are going to look at. The second thing is we are going to look at the RAM, okay? And the third thing is we are going to look at now the keyboard, not forgetting the storage part of this laptop, which we call the ROM, R-O-M, okay? There is the RAM and the ROM. There is a difference between the two, but we are going to distinguish between the two in the coming episodes. Just stay with me. Those are the primary needs. Those three things are the primary needs that I'm going to look at, okay? There are now secondary needs, which I'm going to look at in the coming series or even in the coming episodes. For now, we will not discuss on that. We are going to only focus on the key hardware requirements, because a computer is an integration of several hardware components that work together to perform a specific, to do a specific thing, okay? And now we have noted down what is important to us. Now we'll be focusing on three main things. What is a processor, the categories of processors, and now the benchmark for what you are supposed to look for in those processors. Alright? Nataka ucheze hii scenario, hauna kichwa, unaishingi tu na kimwili peke yake. Do you see how that weird is? Like, hata it makes sense, mwili inaishi aje bila kichwa. Exactly my point. The head is everything. The other components are just the complementary hardware. So, unafaa kuelewa, the processor is now the brain of the laptop. It's like the engine in a car, okay? And this is the most crucial part whenever you are researching for a laptop. And you should take time researching for the best processors that is best suited for your tasks, okay? Now, in this episode, you are going to cover three key areas. What is the function of a processor, the categories of a processor, and the criteria that you are supposed to use to select the best processor, okay, that is best suited for programming and coding and all that stuff, okay? Now, let's understand what is a processor. The processor is the hardware that is responsible for executing the code behind softwares, okay, which you will call commands anyway. It reads and executes, and in the process, it delegates tasks to other electrical components like the RAM, the ROM, and the cooling units, okay. Simply put, that is the primary function of a processor. And inside the processor there is a CPU, but that's a topic for another day, alright? Sasa tumeona kazi ya processor inakuanga gani. And now we need to understand which is the best processor suited for our tasks, programming, coding and stuff, okay? But before tufike hapo, wacha tuelewe three main categories of processors. Now, there are those processors that are best suited for basic needs, like vitu tu basic to, like you don't have many things to do with your laptop. There's now the second category, which is the processors that handle moderate tasks, okay? And now we have the third category, which is more suited for heavy tasks or heavy duty tasks, okay, like gaming and all that. And before tuende mbali, I want us to take time and explore this area, the three categories that I have mentioned: low, moderate, high. Okay, let's take time to analyze this. Now, these categories are the most important things that you are supposed to look for whenever you are purchasing any laptop. That's the most important. You better mess on other areas, but this one, you mess, because once you mess, that's it, you are doomed. We have said this is the low category, this is the middle category and high category. Let's label these categories. Here chini wacha tuipe label ya Y, okay? Y, this processor for moderate tasks tuipe letter U, alright? And this high one is H, okay? Na sasa kuna G1 na G1 to G7, which is this is a topic we will talk about when we come to gaming, yeah, those heavy duty tasks. But as for now, let's focus on these three: Y, U, H. Now our key interest is this middle one, hii ya katikati hii. Okay, that is the one that is important to our tasks, programming tasks. Okay, now having known that, you have everything now that you need. So any laptop that has this letter U is the one that we are focusing on. This is the one that we are hunting. We have now ascertained that the letter U is there, okay, because that is the most important thing. The next step is ensuring that we have the best processor. I think you have ever heard of i5, i9, i7, vitu hizo. Let me explain. Intel processors are in this order. This Celeron, that is the most basic processor that does the basic stuff. There is the Pentium, and then kuna i3, kuna i5, i7 na i9. In that order, our interest is in this i5 or above. That is, if you have the budget that can fit that. Kumbuka, as you go higher, the more you will spend. And remember, we are students. We are sticking to budget-friendly laptops. So our interest is in this i5 that has the letter U. Alright? Now, tumechagua i5. We want to ensure that it is stable and can handle our softwares for programming, or even our IDEs or software, any other software that is related to programming. We want to ensure that the generation of that i5 is from generation 5. Now, how do we check that? We are supposed to come to the name of that processor. Okay, before that letter, there is a series of numbers here, and any number that is not beyond 9999, then you are supposed to look at the first number. Tuseme kama ni 5500U, we are supposed to look at the first digit 5. Okay, kumaanisha hii processor ni ya generation 5. Okay, let's say another random number, maybe it's 8300. It means that this processor is 8th generation, because the first number, because this number is not beyond 9999. Let's say another example, maybe this number is 9800. The number is 4 digits, haijapita 9999. So we are supposed to look at number 9, the first digit. Probably the number is 13,500. Sasa imepita 9,999. We are supposed to look at the first 2 digits, that is 13th generation. Okay, so that's how you know the generation of that processor. Okay, the processor. Sasa sisi we are going for generation 5 and above that. Okay, because generation 5 is more stable than the other generation. Kumbuka, this generation 5 is an improvement of the previous or the previous processors. It's an improvement. So we want to look for the processors that is suitable for our tasks, handling, programming, and all that. Now let's come to the speed of that processor. We want to ensure that it gives us smooth operation, or even when you are working, we want smooth kufanya vitu teke alafu tulisi tunamaliza. The speed of that processor is what we call the clock speed. Okay, now the bare minimum that we can go with our laptop is 2.0 gigahertz. Alright, 2.0 isiende chini ya hiyo, the base gigahertz that it should supposed to be, because this will ensure that the more we can do things faster. But we want to stick to 2.0 because as you go higher, remember you have to dig deeper into your pockets. And remember, 2.0 iko enough. It's actually enough to handle the nini. Plus, I'm considering that these softwares that we are installing, the IDEs that we are installing in our laptop, over time will become sophisticated or will become complex. Question is, will our laptop be able to handle those sophisticated and complicated softwares in 10 years time? The answer is yes. Then 2.0 is enough for us. Okay, that is if you are doing the just normal coding. You're not into the heavy end of coding and programming. We are just, we are just doing moderate programming. Okay. What is RAM? What is the function of RAM? And how much RAM does a computer science student need? These, among many other things, are what we are going to be tackling in this 5th episode. I want you to think of RAM as the wheels of a lorry. The more wheels that lorry has, more load it can carry. Okay? But you need to remember that this lorry has to be able to carry all this load. The engine has to be able to pull all this load. Basically, what I'm saying is RAM is one of the integral components of any computer. Na kazi yake inakuanga tu kuhost the running applications and the operating system. Ideally, inapea software or operating system space to run. And the more space you have, the more applications that you can run in it. But you have to remember one thing, processor ndio inafanyanga kazi yote. RAM tu inakuja tu ku host the running applications, and in that process of running the applications, the software creates cache, there's all that stuff in it. Okay, sasa tuelewe RAM unahitaji kiasi gani for programming and coding. Before nijibu ya swali, nataka tuelewe the quality of RAM first before you come to even the quantity, and this is based on age. Okay, zamani tulikuwa na technology yenye haiko advanced. As we progressed over the years, technology keeps on improving, and the material that is used in making these electrical components, it improves over time. Therefore, speed nayo inaenda ikiongezekanga as technology advances. Now, we have 5 types of RAMs. Okay, and I am going to introduce you to a new term that I think you have heard of it, or if you haven't, then just pay attention to whatever I'm going to say. DDR. Have you ever heard of DDR? Maybe DDR5, DDR4, or anything, DDR3, DDR2, ama DDR ikiwa peke yake. Zamani, do you know there was this technology? Now, DDR means double data rate. Okay, that was the first version, and then it got improved and speed increased. Sasa hiyo ndio ikanemiwa DDR1. Okay, and then afterwards, after several years, it improved again, ndio ikaitwa DDR2. Later, much in kitu 2010s to 2016 hapo, sasa DDR ikakuwa introduced, DDR3 ikakuwa introduced. Later, at around 2017 to 2020, that's when DDR4 got introduced, and DDR5 now is the latest. And each RAM has its own speed. Now, remember, the processor is working in close relationship with the RAM. Okay, so therefore, the speed of RAM will affect the general performance of a laptop. Okay, that is why it is essential to choose the best quality in a processor so that it can give us balanced and least optimum speed, and when you are multitasking, it can give you the best speed. And remember, RAM is the hardware component that is responsible for multitasking. Multitasking in this aspect, you are switching from one application to go to the other. Yeah, we are switching back and forth. Okay, that is the hardware that is responsible for that. As for the multitasking aspect of the processor, this is where processor can read two programs, where a processor can read two codes at the same time and execute them at the same time. Okay, that's the difference between multitasking ya processor na multitasking ya RAM. You get the difference? Multitasking mostly inakuanga kazi ya RAM. Okay, processor ina read the code and executing whatever We have talked about the work of processor in our previous episode, and if you haven't, make sure you check that out. Now we want to ensure that the speed of this RAM in multitasking is good, so we want to ensure that we get the best. So what are we going for? DDR3. okay, that is if you are playing on a budget. Otherwise, if you have enough money to buy a good laptop, then go for DDR4. okay, that is if you are planning to do heavy programming and a lot of multitasking, you have to go for DDR4, or better yet DDR5, but you have to pay more to get that quality. All right, now we have looked at the quality of RAM that we need. We have now understood the quality of RAM that we need. Let's now come to the size, quantity. Ideally, programming involves a lot of multitasking, so you need 8 GB. That should be the bare minimum that you can ever have. Why? Now, anytime umewasha lapi with the Windows OS, count that 30% of that RAM haiko. You can't use it because it is being used to run the operating system, that is Windows, as compared to other operating systems like Mac and Linux. So with Windows, you don't have much to use in terms of the RAM. So ideally have, maybe kona lapia 8 GB RAM, you ideally have 5 GB to do your stuff. 5 only. If you have 16, probably you have 12 GB RAM to use. Okay, ukifungua 20 tabs in this 8 GB RAM, chances are you will have no more space. In fact, that 8 GB can't run that 20 tabs. Like umefungua Chrome 20 tabs, okay, haiwezi fungua, like haiwezi accumulate hizo vitu zote. So I'm telling you this so that you understand how much multitasking programming requires. And let's assume you want to open even other softwares. Maybe you are reading this document in addition to opening VS Code, ama umefungua any other software, and remember it needs space to run, so ina compete resources na Chrome, so you ideally have no space. The minimum you can go with a laptop for computer science is 8 GB. If you can get it at 16, fine, that's the recommended, but 8 is the minimum. That is if you are playing on a budget. Okay, and I think you have understood what you need in that. Let me introduce you to another aspect of what are you supposed to look at whenever you are choosing a RAM. A laptop, can it accommodate, unaweza ongezea RAM? Is there a possibility of adding more RAM to it? That is a factor to consider whenever you're buying a laptop. Can you, maybe you have bought an 8 GB. Can you expand this to 16 GB? Can you expand this to 32 GB? Very important. Why? Because unajua in the future, okay, sasa 8 GB haitakuwa inatosha. I need to add more RAM. Does it have room for more RAM chips in the motherboard? That is a question that you have to consider. Before this series ends, tuta come up with a list of laptops where tutaangalia hizi vitu zote. Like tuta compare different laptops and if they can accommodate more RAM chips. Of course, I will recommend the best laptop that can hold more RAM. Okay, but for that you'll have to stay with me. Continue the series, we'll answer that question. Now that's it about the RAM. We have the quality, quantity, and the accommodation. Do you know that the type of storage in your laptop or your computer usually affects the general performance of your machine? This is something that most people don't know, and this is why you should take time to understand the type of storage in your laptop and select the best storage device for your laptop or computer. We are in episode 6 of series 1. We are talking about the ROM. The ROM is basically the storage of your machine. What does ROM means? It means read-only memory. Okay, basically it just means memory, the memory of your device. either a laptop or a computer or even a phone. Okay, what is the function of ROM? ROM basically keeps records of your media files, be it your images, videos, audio files, documents, mention them. Okay, it keeps a record, a digital record of those files. At the same time, that ROM is responsible for running your operating system and your installed applications or softwares in your computer or a laptop. Okay, now let's take time to understand the type of storage in our laptops. We have one, the HDD type of storage, and number two, we have SSD. Okay, HDD means hard drive and SSD means solid state drive. Okay, what is the difference between HDD and SSD? It's basically the speed at which files are stored and files are retrieved, okay, in your computer, because this is what happens in the background. Files are being written and files are being read. All right, HDD is very slow. As for the SSD, it is very fast. Okay, now let's answer the question of which storage device are we supposed to select for our computer science and IT students. Okay, our interest is in the SSD. This is non-negotiable, and I'll tell you why we should choose SSDs whenever you are dealing with technical courses. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's watch this video and I'll explain later. That is a video of two computers which have different storage types. That is, one has HDD and the other one has SSD. The HDD one or the SSD one has taken almost 31 seconds, and for the HDD it has taken almost 1 minute and 40 seconds. Look at the contrast between the two. There's almost 1 minute and 20 or even 10 seconds between the two. And kumbuka, hiyo ni kuwasha tu, like booting up, kuwasha tu la P. Now some laptops even go for more than even 3 minutes na ni kuwaka tu. Imagine sasa mmepewa assignment tuko shule and mmeambiwa mfanye assignment within 2 hours. Now imagine the amount of time it will take to do that assignment. That's why it is important to select the best storage type. SSD is what we want to go for. Okay, now let's talk about SSD individually. We have several types of SSD, and one is SATA and number two is NVMe. Okay, as for the computer science students and technical students, we want to select NVMe, which is it is the best for our case, for our tasks, the tasks that we defined in the second episode. NVMe is the best suitable technology for that. Okay, because I think I've said this before and I think it's time to repeat it again. All softwares usually initializes from the storage device, okay, and that will affect the speed at which it will run. That's why it is important to select SSD. Oh yes, I was talking about the types of storage. I mean the types of SSD. There's one, the SATA, and the two is NVMe. Our interest is in the NVMe. However, I do understand that you are a student and you are operating on a budget. probably you don't have enough money to get a laptop with an NVMe, you can go for the SATA. Now SATA has actually 3 versions. There's SATA 1, there's SATA 2, there's SATA 3. We want to go for the latest version before NVMe got introduced. Okay, we want to go for SATA 3. Okay, nothing below SATA 3. Okay, like no SATA 2, no SATA 1. We want to go for SATA 3 and above, that is SATA 3 and NVMe 1. I think NVMe has also versions 1, 2, 3, but as NVMe, we don't want to select a specific version because we are not doing the heavy programming stuff. Like, we are not doing heavy stuff as such. Okay, we are students, so we want to go for the SATA 3 or above. Okay, and that should be it about the ROM. You have now understood what you are supposed to go for and the quality that you are supposed to go for. As for the size, something that I've forgotten, you can go with any, but 256 will be most suitable to maybe install your applications, hold your files, store your files. But if you need more storage capacity, you can always opt for external hard drives. Now that's the point, that you can only use hard drives. Okay, as for the primary use of computer and loading the operating system and anything in between, programming and all that stuff, you have to go for the SSD. However, if you want to complement you can opt for the external hard drives or external SSDs. Okay, that doesn't matter. And that should be it about the storage and ROM. Now a friend of mine has just joined in the series, and he will be helping us to conclude the laptop series, or even the laptop specs for computer science and IT students. This guy is very playful. In fact, he doesn't have a name. We call him Puss. But anyway, we are on the final part of our primary need for our laptops. Okay, for the said students. Now we are on the keyboard part. This won't take much time as the other previous parts. The most important thing that you should note is that our keyboard should be backlit, and this is why I say it should be backlit. Let's say you are working on this project and you don't want to light up your room lights, so you'll opt for your keyboard should be backlit so that you can see what you are typing. Whatever I'm going to say is a bit controversial. There's this meme that goes that programmers don't like light. Like light attracts bugs. So at least we should conform to that. Even our laptops should conform to that. should conform to that. Now that is another factor that we should consider before buying a laptop. Okay, now, and that should be it about the keyboard. Should be backlit because we are working in the dark, and we have the sound engineer here who is telling me that time is over. He wants to play, but he is very playful. This is where things start getting interesting. I have a whole list of about six laptops that have the specs that I've defined from episode 3 to episode 7. Okay, all these laptops that are listed here have all those specifications, but this is why I am saying that things start getting interesting from here. You might find tunaweza kuwa na lapi mzuri sana, okay, iko na specs zenye tunataka, but you forget one thing, that this thing was made by other people. Okay, and some of the laptops that you might find in the market, you might find them with engineering flaws, and that means all our money will go to drain if we don't take time to understand those things. Okay, and this is where I start introducing the secondary needs. Kama lap yetu haina the primary needs that I have defined from episode 3 to episode 7, then we are not interested in that laptop. And since we have the laptops with those specs, then we are interested. We just want to take time and eliminate them one by one and remain with a few that will suit our needs. In this secondary needs that I'm going to define, you are going to note that I'm going to come up with needs that will supplement the primary needs. Okay, remember we are choosing the best laptop for computer science and IT students. Therefore, I must look for the hardware components that will actually complement the primary needs. What is the difference between the primary needs and the secondary needs? Primary needs are ideally the electrical components that we are looking at, such that you cannot choose a laptop that don't have those specs that are electrical components first. For the secondary needs is where I'm looking at other parts of this laptop that are going to complement the primary needs. Okay, and this is the best time to introduce you to my parameters of eliminating these laptops, one of them being the screen size, and in that I mean even portability. So I have another parameter called material. Okay, and another parameter that I'm going to use is RAM expandability. The fourth one is battery life, that is usage time. The fifth one is connectivity. All that among other secondary needs. Those are the main secondary needs that I have to look at. Now, remember, I'm choosing the best laptop for computer science and other IT students who are in colleges, who are in universities. So I now immerse myself into their world, where I understand that I'm going to be programming. Okay, and sometimes in the aspect of multitasking that I've defined in the second episode, multitasking sometimes involves using multiple apps at the same time on the same screen size. This is where Windows split screen feature comes in. I understand that tutakuwa tukifanya vitu mingi at once. Maybe you'll be running 2 applications or 3 applications at once on the same screen. And that being said, nahitaji screen kubwa, nahitaji screen yenye ita accommodate hizi vitu zote na itaniwezesha kuona every aspect of it in a single shot, like kuona tu. I hope you're getting me. I now need to figure out, okay, which is the best screen size. This is how the screen is measured. Ukisikianga 15 inch, 16, 17 inch, inapima mungo hivi. Screens inakuanga rectangular hivi. From this top right to bottom left, ukipima hiyo length, hiyo ndio wana. So ukisikianga kitu ka screen size, that is what they measure. Okay, our laptop needs to have at least 14 inches. You can go above now if you want. I'm going to list the laptops that you are going to work with. The list that I came up with, we have 6 laptops, and that is from HP to the Latitude 5480. The list is on your screen, you should see it. So now I want the 14 inch. Among these laptops, is these 6 laptops, ni gani iko na 14 inch? Now ni zote except number 4, that is HP EliteBook H20G3 and Lenovo ThinkPad X260. So those 2 laptops zinaondoka kwa list. Okay, tunazi eliminate hivyo juu hazisuit need yetu. Yeah, in case I'm multitasking, in case I am running many applications at once, will I be able to view everything at once? No. So they have gone. We are left with 4 laptops. Nitaendelea kuzi eliminate. Which criteria am I going to use? Assume that wewe ni mtu unapenda kuangusha vitu sana, or we are looking to the aspect of the longevity. Okay, we want this laptop to stay for long. Okay, now I am assuming you are a first year, and hii laptop ukinunua ukiwa first year, I expect that to go for probably 5 years plus. Okay, so we need a laptop that has a material casing that can take us for those many years. And this is where looking at the material that made the casing. Now we have several laptops here. Some of them zimetengenezwa na aluminium, some of them carbon fiber, some of them are magnesium alloys. Okay, now which material fits into our need of longevity? We want to stay with this laptop for long, so we are targeting for laptops which have a metal casing. Among the 4 laptops, which one have the metal casing? It is laptop number 1 and laptop number 2, that is Lenovo. The third laptop, that is Dell. Now, the other laptop, it is made up of carbon fiber, and we are really not interested in any carbon fiber. We want metal casings. So, to eliminate the 6th one, that is Dell Latitude 5480. Okay? Now, we are left with 3. Let's find another criteria of eliminating these laptops. Now, what can I use? Let me introduce another need. Still on the multitasking. I remember telling you that we need 8 GB plus or more than that. Okay? Let's look at, out of all these laptops, ni gani kona itatupea the more space to add more RAM chips. Sound engineer kwa hapa. So out of those, ni gani konayo? Dell ndio haina the slots to add more RAM chips. Okay? So here tuna eliminate because in the future we cannot add more RAM chips. So we are left with HP EliteBook 840 G3 or G4, whichever you prefer, and Lenovo ThinkPad T460S. Okay? Because Lenovo is made up of magnesium alloy and carbon fiber. This is a good mixture of material which can guarantee us longevity. And now HP EliteBook sasa ni aluminium, chuma nje. Whichever you prefer, that's yours. Now, I want to throw this question at you. Between HP EliteBook na Lenovo ThinkPad, hizo mbili zimebaki kwa list, ni gani utachagua? Let me know in the comment section. Now I need to mention this. All these laptops that I have listed here play on the budget of 20,000 Kenyan shillings to 25,000 Kenyan shillings. Now that is the price range of a good laptop that will suit a computer science or IT student. Okay, 20,000 to 25,000 if you aren't going for the higher specs. That is if you are playing on a budget. In your budget unafaa kuchezea nayo. Remember, all these laptops that I have mentioned for that price are laptops that are ex-UK or ex whichever country they came from. They are not new. Otherwise, if you want to buy a new laptop, it will cost you almost double that price that I've mentioned. Maybe lapini 22k, utaipata na hata na 35-40. Okay? So, and most of these shops that sell laptops and computers out here wanauzanga ex UKs and ex whichever countries they came from. Now, ex inamarishanga ni, I think this is a topic that we'll talk another day. Ex UK ni nini, ex US ni nini, like refurb ni nini, second hand, hizo zote tutakuja kuongelea in a totally different video. Sasa umebuy lapi. What next? You need to ensure that before you leave that shop where you have bought the laptop, that Windows iko activated. Make sure you tell whoever is selling those laptops that akufungulie lapi, you activate that Windows because it usually needs activation. Alright? That's number 1. Number 2, don't buy a laptop online. You better take yourself to the shop, physically buy that laptop, ensure that everything is okay, the condition is very okay, everything is fine. That's the only point that you can buy that laptop. You might ask why I recommend you go to a physical shop instead of buying things online. Ukioda kitu online, hauko na guarantee ati itarudi. Itakuja yenye ulikuwa umeitisha. Plus, inaweza kuja defect zingine. Kurudisha kwa shop itakuwa another case, because now I'm pretty sure that this online selling platforms hazinanga a straight way of getting to the seller who sold you that laptop. So take this as a caution, go to a physical shop to avoid unnecessary drama. Okay, episode 9 is as short as that. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about uko na lapi sawa. What more can you do with it to expand your capacity as an IT student or a computer science? See you on the next episode. I briefly talk about that na series itakuwa ikiisha. As a computer science student or other courses, IT courses, you have a very good laptop that can do a lot of things. Now, apart from schoolwork, you can expand your capacity. You can start building, in fact, you can start building your capacity as an IT student. Yeah, take advantage of that. Pretty sure that most of these universities inakuanga na free Wi-Fi. Take that as an advantage to start building a person with skills. Okay, I'm going to recommend some skills which are rare, even if it were utaisikia anywhere else, but I can guarantee you, if you work on them consistently for 1 good year or a daily basis, uzikuwa ukizipea maybe 1 hour 2 hours of practicing them, trust me, you are going to be on a different space from your peers. Okay, wengine wakipiga sherehe sawa, watapiga, but you will see the difference of you who has worked on a particular skill and someone else who hasn't worked on anything. Kazi inakuanga tu, kazi inakuanga tu shule, after hapo movies, after hapo gaming, there is nothing else. Okay, as a wise young man or a young lady, you need to ensure that you are equipped with one skill and you are good at it. Okay, these are some of the skills that you can equip yourself, and I'm recommending these skills based on laptop capacity yake ni gani and you as a person. Okay, now number 1, blockchain. Blockchain, I think you will understand, is about cryptocurrency. I'm building the systems, payment systems of cryptocurrency. Now, I'm going to recommend one cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, because in the next few months, I can count time kai next year, Bitcoin itaanza kukua itakuwa part of the integral financial system in the entire world, because a point is coming that utakuwa na currency, different currency. You will only have one currency, and that will be Bitcoin. Although this is something that I can talk about individually, but take time, learn to integrate payments with Bitcoin, learn as many things as possible in one field. Okay, as an IT student, you have that capacity. After learning, you need to go to those who are selling things. Na wanakuanga na POS. Start offering the solution of they can accept payments with Bitcoin. This area is a gold mine. Hiyo time ikifika, if you are prepared to that capacity, hiyo time ikifika, your time will have come. But take time to just prepare for that. Number 2 skill, you can learn advanced Excel. Okay, this is where you are doing data analysis. This is where you will use your problem solving skills to analyze data and come up with a solution which you can offer to businesses and even companies or even individuals. Whatever you do with that skill, just ensure that you are solving someone else's problem. Okay, practice this Excel on a daily basis for 1 good year. Give it at least one hour on a daily basis, focused solely on that. Number 3, learn Adobe InDesign. Okay, Adobe InDesign is a software that you use to design books. Okay, thousands upon thousands of people right now, they are writing books and they are posting them on KDP. Don't be one of those people who are writing. Come, uwape solution. Yeah, I can design this book for you, and you have to learn it. By the time you offer a solution, make sure that you have taken time to practice InDesign. You have become good at it. You have done hundreds to even thousands of projects, and then come sell that solution. Okay, Haya, there's number 4, Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop is where you learn to design graphics. If you are more of an artistic person, so this is where this Adobe Photoshop comes in. If you just naturally you just vibe with graphics in yako. Now, number 5, motion graphics with Canva. There's a website called canva.com where you can design graphics. Okay, and apart from that, you can create animations out of that. Okay, because such a laptop that I recommended haiwezi handle Adobe After Effects, or well, if you are interested in designing with Adobe After Effects, then you need to wait for our series for engineering students. At least your lapin is a handle Adobe After Effects, but you have to wait for us to do the series here, engineering students. Okay, use YouTube as a resource because YouTube is a free university where you can learn anything. Haya, kumbuka you have an advantage of also having AIs. We have multiple AIs that you can use, Gemini, ChatGPT. Yeah, what I mean is we have many AIs. Use that as a resource to get good at one thing. Now, remember, I'm not telling you to learn all these skills. Kitu najaribu kuambia, pick one, be good at it on a daily basis. Make sure you give 1 hour or 2 hours, or if you can more, because you are doing this as an extra thing in your life. Okay, you need to understand that you need to build capacity, because after ushamaliza campus hivi, man, I need not to swear, no one owes you anything. Ni wewe sasa ujitoe kongori yuko ujipeleke kwenye unataka. No one owes you anything. So, and as much as you have done that course, aki ya nani sikudanganyi, that degree means nothing, because many people take universities as a hope to get a future job. Bro, hakuna job, you are the job. Make yourself a job from the start. Umeingia first year hivi, start equipping yourself with one skill and get good at it. Okay, many people take school as a hope that they'll get a job in the future, but me nakuja ku change your beliefs. Okay, school is a playground to help you build capacity on thinking and even solving problems. The journey is what matters. Iyo certificate utapata at the end, in fact it doesn't matter. It is as useless as I'm telling you. Okay, so take time. Iyo time uko shule, learn as many things as possible. Kuna venye shule inakufunzaka some certain skills, so build on that, and then after computer science, this IT and computer science courses usually take 4 years. By the time 4 years inaisha, I can guarantee you that you'll be on a different place from your peers. Hamtakuwa level moja. Yes, mmekuwa mkisoma kitu moja, mmekuwa kufanya vitu pamoja, but you will be totally on a different space. Economize on that, and that's it. Mimi sitaongea zaidi. Na series imeisha hivyo. We have come to the end of the series where I was talking about the laptop that you are supposed to choose and the specs that you are supposed to look for, and the key components, hardware components that you are supposed to analyze to make sure that you get the right one for your course. And for this case, I was focusing on computer science and other IT students. Okay, I've shown you from the start what you are supposed to look at, the needs first, and then you translate them to hardware requirements. I came to now the secondary requirements, chose the laptop, and now we came up with a full list of laptops, shown you how to eliminate them, and I hope you have learned something. And that's it. Series imeisha hivyo. I think one challenge that I have had, and I think it's still a problem, is that I have a phone with 64 GB capacity, which is not enough to edit the whole video. I don't know even how I'm going to do that. Tena lap yangu haina. I wish I had a good laptop with a good processor that can do things fast. Yeah, my eyes are set on one laptop in particular, but I want to use the phone first, which space haitoshi. So ideally I'm setting my eyes on this Xiaomi 17 Pro Max with 512 gigs of storage and 16 GB RAM. Nifanya kila kitu juu because I'm a heavy multitasker. Nikiamua kufanya vitu, in fact hata hii simu huwa ina hang saa zingine because of the work that I give to it. I'm editing a video at the same time I'm doing other heavy things. That's the challenge that I've had to face. I hope I'll get a new phone soon enough. My eyes are set on that. Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, 512 gigs, 16 GB RAM, inawezesha kukua nikiedit videos. Remember I'm editing these videos in 1080 pixels before nizi post YouTube, so I really need a good phone that can render those graphics. So yeah, series imeisha hivyo. On the next series tutaangalia a laptop for regular students. After regular tutakuja kwa engineering. Okay, bye bye, see you on the next one, and make sure you follow us, subscribe to our channel. The only way you can support us is just following us, okay, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm asking for that. See you at the next one. Adios.